I would say that by the last week in February, I had most of the cleanup done in the backyard. Those were the places that were really hindering me in my ability to move forward in life. I had a pretty gargantuan bulk trash pile that was created, so it was a lot of things that we gathered up and got rid of, cleaned up and organized. So let's check out kind of where we were at the end of February before we get into plants. Okay, so it may be challenging to get the visual, but we did, I mean, like, this was covered in stuff, and so it still may look a little crazy to you, but it's not as crazy it was. The tree, again, may look crazy to you, but it's really because I layered a bunch of, I'll show it to you. I layered like all my nutrients in here. So there's like the fertilizer on the bottom, and then there's worm castings on top of that, and then there's a bag of steer manure, and then a bag of compost. So I'm just trying to get this to settle in and watering really good. This tree smells amazing, but it's really hasn't gotten any bigger than this, and it produced one tiny lemon that made it all year. I'm gonna get this dang bag out of here. It's hanging on my clothesline. So anyhow, I tend to miss the dates for getting it fertilized, so I don't get that done. And then a lot of times we have a lot of wind at this time of year, so we don't, so I lose a lot of buds. I have a lot of bud drop, and so obviously the buds are what is going to give us, I'll just have to leave that for a minute. I did like tried to do a really super good job on setting up my amendments for this and fertilizing it in or about Valentine's Day. You're kind of supposed to follow the Valentine's Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, and I think there's another one in there where you're supposed to do your citrus. So I'm hoping that doing that, because it looks okay, and sometimes it looks like it's got new growth on it, but like this is all from like last year and stuff that just hasn't dropped off. So and when I did, then I put like 5 gallons of fish emulsion on it, but I filled this bucket's got holes in it, so I put all this hay in it. I don't know if you can see that, so that it would slow go into the tree. So then I'm getting a bulk trash pickup, so I'm gonna put that to bulk trash. Then I got all that stuff over there cleaned up. I really think I'm gonna put a bed over here instead of trying to work. I'm still gonna try a couple things in ground-ish, but I don't want to miss out on this. It's a magic spot for my yard. So I don't want to miss out on that, trying to mess with the yard again. So I'm just going to do a bed, but it's not going to be exactly where that one in ground is. It's going to shift over just a hair, because when the fig tree fills in, then in the afternoon, you know, this is all a really nice shady area, and so that's an ideal spot in your yard, especially if you can create it naturally without having to use shade cloth. So that's the goals there. Still got to get some bags left over from last season of grapes, and I probably need to trim up this grapevine, but it's been doing its own thing this whole time. And the one that I planted is over here. It hasn't started to wake up yet. It usually wants to be a little bit warmer, so maybe we'll get a little bit more length out of it, because it's like this long one is, I mean, that's only 3 feet from getting to the fence. So, you know, maybe we can get there with it this year. So I'm not 100% what I'm gonna do right here right now. I think I've got some black plastic. I might just sheet it out in black plastic and see, because I still want to play with the idea of getting rid of the Bermuda and doing some in ground. I think for me right now, I've got to be more in raised beds and containers, just because the only place that I was efficient at getting rid of grass was over here. And like I said, to keep up with my life and still garden, because it really kind of hurt me to not garden this year, you know, then I've got to take this approach more with the beds. So this bed is all set. I said this earlier, I want to really top it with alfalfa, but in the meantime, I'm just going to use that big pile of leaves over there, because I got most of the leaves raked up. And it's not that I love leaves, I just don't want them all to go to the grass. I want to use some of them. So I've got a big pile over there. See, so I raked, but the ground can have some and I want some, because I'm gonna stock up my bins over here full of leaves to help me have browns to compost with. And then I also have it available to mulch beds with. So that's what I'm gonna do over here with this bed. Is I'm gonna get it topped with because I topped this off with a bag with 4 bags, actually 4 2 cubic feet of the EB Stone raised bed mix. And so I'm going to use the leaves at first as a mulch, and then I'll come back with the alfalfa before it gets super, super hot. So we mostly got this area cleaned up. I've got plans to get a fence up this spring. That's just a tarp that I'm about to use to help with leaves, and that one is rolled up, and I want it moved into the front yard so I can use the little bit of soil that it's in it for a flower bed. And then I got this area here straightened up and set up to, there's shade cloths down there, buckets, and a bunch of raised fabric bags. So this weekend we wanted to get the power washer out, but my husband has been on call all weekend. So next weekend we'll do power washing projects, and when we do that, I'm gonna power wash those bags. So right now, this is where we're at. I've got 2 tomatoes to go into this bed over here. And then I'm pretty sure I'm going to put a cattle panel over here, to grow cantaloupe on, because I had a lot of success with cantaloupe and watermelon over here in this spot. So I'm going to get those things going. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a couple of cantaloupe plants, and then I'm going to plant seeds so that I'll have, you know, ongoing cantaloupe, because you can plant cantaloupe all summer. It's one of those heat liking things. And then, like I said, I'm going to do some watermelon. So if this whole area fills up with watermelon vines, I don't care. And then I'm going to cut this sugar cane down at the ground. And then the way you plant and make more sugar cane is you can just bury the canes. So we're gonna bury the canes on along there. This right here all went crazy from the 2 original canes that we buried. And then I've got some wild lantana to clean up over there. So it is coming together. I got a lot of help from the children this weekend. So I'm gonna sort out these leaves, and then, like I said, I'm going to get planting on this bed, and then I'm going to also plant some carrots, and I'm going to plant some radishes, because those are all really, really fast growing.